Which type of musical motion keeps you out of harmony jail? That's what we're going to talk about today on Dr. Doug's Daily Tips for how to write great LDS church music. To help us, we're looking at hymn 131 from the LDS Hymn No, More Holiness Give Me. So, musical motion. What do I mean by musical motion? I mean between the different parts, between the different voices in your music, what type of motion against one another are they using? For example, here we have a soprano line that starts on the F sharp, goes up to the B, comes down to the A, the G sharp, the A, and so on. And we have a bass line that stays on D the whole time. So by motion, I mean comparing the bass line to the soprano line. Are they moving the same direction? Are they moving the opposite direction? Are they moving exactly the same direction? That's what I mean by motion. There are 4 types of musical motion, and all 4 of them can be used to write beautiful music that does not get you landed in harmony jail, but some of those 4 motions are often ones that you have to be careful with. Okay, the 2 you have to be most careful with are parallel motion and similar motion, but the other 2 get you out of dodge pretty much every time. I can't even think of a time they don't get you out of dodge, and they are contrary motion and oblique motion. What we're going to look at in hymn 131 is an excellent example of oblique motion. So this is just one way to use motion to keep you out of harmony jail. There are others, as I just mentioned, because there's these other types of motion. But this hymn uses oblique motion beautifully. So what do I mean by oblique motion? Oblique motion means that one of the voices stays steady while one of the other voices is moving. Okay? So here comparing the soprano and the bass does not move at all. It stays steady. The soprano goes up and then comes down and then back up. Okay, so that is oblique motion. The reason oblique motion is so nice is because it completely removes any possibility of illegal motion. And illegal motion is like illegal parallel fifths or illegal parallel octaves. Is illegal? Am I overdoing it there? Is this hyperbole? No, it's actually how we refer to the wrong types of motion in music theory practice. And the reason why is because in traditional Western music, if you do illegal parallels, they ruin the resonance of the traditional types of harmony, the harmonies that come from Bach and Beethoven and the great composers, which our hymns are based on. Now, there are other types of harmony where these parallels are not illegal, and they're beautiful, and they work really well, like the music of Debussy and Ravel and some others. But traditionally, our primary songs and our hymns and most of our Sacrament Meeting style music is based upon traditional harmony. So we like to beware of anything that would destroy the resonance. And illegal parallel fifths and illegal parallel octaves do tend to destroy that resonance. So oblique motion saves the day. For example, this opening measure, the bass stays the same, so there is absolutely no possibility of the bass making illegal motion with the other voices, because it stays right there. Okay? Now, there's a bit of a gospel corollary here. For me, I think of oblique motion as one of the voices staying steady. In other words, the Savior is our foundation. He stays steady. We have challenges. We move up and down and all around, all kinds of commotion in our life. But if we can tether ourselves to the Savior and His steadiness, we're always out of emotional or spiritual jail, right? Same goes for traditional voice leading and writing in music. Oblique motion gets us out of harmony jail. Okay, there's several more instances where we have this. This next line starts with the same oblique motion, and the upper voice going up and down. It's exactly the same music, actually. Then down here, it reverses itself. The bass moves while the soprano stays oblique for a time. Then it happens again. The bass moves while the soprano stays oblique. So it doesn't just have to be in the lowest voice that you have oblique motion, the steady voice, and the upper voice moving. You can also have the steady voice in the upper part and the moving voice below. And then we get oblique to the max here because both the sopranos and the altos stay steady, and both the tenors and the basses move in oblique motion against the upper voices. And then one last bit of oblique motion here while these stay the same and these move down. So this very popular hymn that you know very, very well, one of the reasons it works so well is because there's a very steady sense of foundation created by the oblique motion. One voice staying steady while the other voice is moving, and in particular, the outer voices. The reason we focus so much on outer voices being in good motion is because they're the easiest ones to hear. The highest sound and the lowest sound are the easiest even on the untrained ear. So we want to make sure those outer voices have every chance to be as resonant as possible, and oblique motion, the kind of motion depicted here in all these red lines, is a fantastic way to do that. So if you're in your writing and you're thinking, there's something off with this measure, I'm not quite sure what it is, check your motion and see if oblique motion can help you. It probably can. Now, one last thing to all my altos out there. I know, altos, sometimes we feel awfully bored singing the same note over and over again. Yet, that same note over and over again is helping the rest of the music hold fast with oblique motion. Think of yourselves like a foundation. And without a foundation, the house is going to fall. The wise composer built his house upon the alto foundation or some kind of foundation. And often, altos, you help with that foundation, okay, to make sure the music can be as resonant as possible. So don't be sad about that. Be super excited that you are the mortar holding these bricks together. And when you're writing next, find a voice that can do that to make sure your music is nice and firm and solid and capable of having resonance. That is your tip for today, oblique motion. If you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified each time I post a video like this. And if you'd like more free tips on how to write great LDS church music, please head over to www.latterdaymusiversity.com to get more free tips. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.